So as a lot of you probably already know, there are a lot of new Alephium miners coming out on the market that all seem super profitable with super short break-even times. But as you also probably know, these profitability numbers are most likely not going to last for long. Since when these miners start shipping out and people start actually turning them on, network hash rate is going to grow dramatically and profitability will decrease as a result. But by how much exactly? Well, I haven't seen anyone properly do the math on that, so that is exactly what I did. And not only that, I also took that math and I put it into a free spreadsheet for all of you guys, where you can input your own predictions on just how many new miners are gonna come online, and then it will tell you how much that will actually affect the final profitability for all of these miners, to see if they are still worth getting or if they are just flat out not worth it. So that is what's coming up in this video after this quick word from our sponsor. Coin Mining Central is an online store for ASIC miners, and there's no doubt that right now ASIC mining profitability has just been going up like crazy in these past few months. And the miners that I'm personally most interested in right now are probably the 𝗬𝗓 AL0 Home Alephium miner and the Jasminer X16Q, which I still think is probably the best ASIC miner available for at-home miners like myself. Coin Mining Central are also continuously providing me with exclusive discount codes for you guys, like the code 𝗧, which gives you $125 off on every miner in your order. I am also very excited to tell you that Coin Mining Central have recently launched a loyalty program that lets you earn points in loads of different ways, like signing up for their newsletter or following them on social media. You also earn points on every order you make with them, and these loyalty points can then be redeemed for massive discounts on your next purchase. Now, on top of this, with Coin Mining Central, worldwide express shipping is always free, and there are never any added payment fees during checkout or anything like that. The listed price is always the total cost you'll pay for the miners. And I did a lot of research before I decided to partner up with Coin Mining Central, and there were two clear things that stood out to me about them. The first one being that as opposed to most other ASIC vendors that are based overseas, Coin Mining Central is registered and run out of England, Europe, which means they have to adhere to the very strict regulations for customer support and personal detail protection that we have over here. And of course, all brand new miners also come with a full manufacturer warranty. The second thing is their pretty much spotless track record of delivering miners to happy customers like you guys for well over 5 years at this point. So please go check them out today. I'll have the discount codes and link for you down in the video description. So yes, Coin Mining Central, who do sell these miners, is sponsoring this video. However, as I always say, they did not specifically ask me to make this video. I'm free to say whatever I want about these miners. They did not get to review the video before I uploaded it or anything like that. Plus, we're also gonna be looking at straight numbers in this video, and the point of this whole thing is just for me to give you this spreadsheet to use as a tool in order to make your own predictions. So with that in mind, let's just hop on over and have a look at what's going on with Alephium miners. And to start, I just want to bring a little bit of attention to this tweet by Goldshell, because it might be relevant to this, it might not be. It's an incredibly vague tweet where they are basically saying that they are going to be launching something tomorrow, announcing something. It says here new miner launching tomorrow, August 15th, miner singular. But then down here it says new miner series, which would imply multiple miners. They've also hashtagged it with both Alephium and 𝗏𝗧. So does that mean there's a new Alephium miner and a new 𝗏𝗧 miner being announced by them tomorrow? Or have they just done that because of visibility and trying to get more shares and retweets on the post? I'm not exactly sure. I was debating with myself on whether I should just hold off on making this video. But then I kind of realized that, well, this doesn't really change any of the math inside of the spreadsheet, so it doesn't really matter in a way what they are going to potentially be announcing tomorrow. And as you make your own predictions within the spreadsheet, you can just take that into account when you do your predictions, right? So I'm just going to leave it at that, and let's instead look at the actual spreadsheet. So just a couple of disclaimers here, and also how to use the spreadsheet if you want to download it and input your own predictions, which I always suggest that you do if you're going to make some sort of mining hardware purchases. I always suggest that you would make those purchases based on your own predictions and not what somebody on the internet is saying, right? So with that out of the way, let's look at the actual information in this spreadsheet. So what is going on here? Well, basically I have all of the miners that we know exist for Alephium, so not this potentially new one that might or might not be coming out tomorrow. Who knows? And who knows if this is even going to be relevant in terms of power efficiency or value for money or anything like that. But hey, that's either here nor there. So we got the 2 Goldshell AL boxes. We got the 𝗬𝗟 AL0, which is the one that I'm getting, and we have the 2 versions of the Bitmain AL1, the AL1 and the AL1 Pro. Now, the way this spreadsheet basically works is you have all of the basic stats and info about the miners up here, but then you can also enter your own predictions basically into these yellow fields here. The blue fields are, they're sort of, it's information that is being fetched from outside sources, so this should always be up to date and precise. Stuff like Alephium's coin price as of right now, the current network hash rate for Alephium, and how many coins you would yield per day with 1 gigahash of hash rate. Now, let's just first look at, overall comparing these 5 different miners that are available. You can also see the discount codes that you can use for these and how big of a discount you get, plus what the price would be. But let's move on. The main thing to compare here would obviously be the efficiency of the miners, which is just how many watts of power per gigahash of hash rate. You want this to be as low as possible because you're using less power for each unit of hash rate. And of course, the darker the green, the better. In this case, you can see that the AL0 is twice as power efficient as both of the AL box variants. And here you can also see the price in dollars per gigahash. Obviously, you also want this to be as low as possible because then you're paying the least amount for the hash rate you are getting. And you can see that the 𝗬𝗟 here is pretty close to the Bitmains in terms of just value for money or price per gigahash, whereas the only Goldshell box that is available is almost twice as expensive per unit of hash rate. So definitely the 𝗬𝗟s and the Bitmains have both of the Goldshell boxes beat in both of these regards. Then you can also see just the current break-even time here. However, that is just based on today's numbers right now, so those aren't going to be, the actual break-even times. Well, it could technically be, but just know that these are just based on today's numbers, and I still keep them in just because it's a good way to kind of compare the performance and value for money of these miners, but it should not be taken as this is going to ROI or break even in 100 days. This one is going to take 115 days. Nothing like that. Instead, what we're gonna be looking at are these mining results here, and these are the fields that will update as you input your own numbers into these little boxes up here. So first thing you can do is input your power price. I have it at 15 cents because I think that's kind of some sort of low average-ish. A lot of you guys seem to have around 15 cents per kilowatt hour, so I've put that in. Then how long do you expect to mine with this miner for? I've put 24 months in. You can change that as you wish. Then you also have the expected coin price growth before selling your coins. So this is a spreadsheet that mainly focuses on holding the coins and then selling at a later date after price appreciation. However, you of course can just put 1x here if you don't expect the coin price to grow. I've got it at 6x because I honestly don't know. I just picked something for this example. Again, I don't think you should go off of my example. I think you should download a spreadsheet and put your own predictions. Then you have this box here. If you do expect to be able to sell the miner itself at the end of mining with it, so after 24 months, if you expect to be able to sell the miner at that point, you can put in how much you expect to be able to sell the miner for. So 0.25x obviously means you're expecting to sell it for a quarter of what you bought it for. So you bought the 𝗬𝗟 AL0 for roughly $1,000. You expected to be able to sell it for $250. Now, these are the two fields that are probably going to be most relevant to use, or more, useful here. And that is the estimated immediate net hash growth. So how much new hash rate do you expect to come onto the network before you even get the miners? And that is the whole thing with what people are talking about with these Alephium miners, that, yeah, they look super profitable right now, but by the time you get yours, everyone else also gets theirs, they all turn on at the same time, network hash rate does a drastic jump up, and then therefore profitability decreases accordingly. So how much do you expect it to go up? Well, you can input that here, and the calculations that we're going to look at down here will adjust accordingly based on that. And not only that, I also put this little AL1s to petahash converter that you can use here. So because some people, they're like looking at it more of like, oh, how many of these big boy ASIC miners, mostly it's the Bitmain AL1s that they're thinking of, how many of these are actually going to be made by Bitmain and shipped out in this first batch? A lot of people are expecting 1,000 of them between the two of them, so 500 AL1s, 500 AL1 Pros. Some people are saying less, some people are saying more. It's up to you to make your own prediction there, but for ease of use, I put in this little converter here where you can put in how many you think. So if you think, I've got it at 1,000 now, so it says 1,000 AL1s, and that then spits out how many petahash of network hash rate is that, and that is 15.6 petahash. And so you can see that is also what I've put here as an example for the estimated immediate network hash rate growth. So I've said, hey, the network hash rate is going to grow by 1,000 Bitmain AL1s before we even get our miners if we were to order them today. And that is sort of the starting point that I'm going from with the calculations in just this example here. If you think there's going to be 2,000, you can just put 2,000 here. It will tell you that's equivalent of 31.2 petahash, and then you can just input that here, and the results down in the results section here will change accordingly. But let's just keep it at 1,000 for now, because we also then have a second field here, which is the estimated net hash growth per month. So not only can you enter how much you think the net hash is going to jump when this first batch of miners get delivered to people, you can also enter how much you think the net hash is then going to grow month on month on month. I've just put 1 petahash here, which would be equivalent to roughly 70 new Bitmain AL1s coming out every single month after that first initial batch of 1,000. But again, I think you should just enter your own predictions here and not use my example, because it's just an example for showing you how the spreadsheet works. So use your own predictions, download the spreadsheet, use your own predictions. But with that in mind, let's look at the actual results. Well, as you can see, just from looking at this, the AL1s and the AL0 are basically on par with each other just in terms of value for money and performance. The AL1s are slightly more efficient and slightly cheaper per hash rate, but not by a lot. Basically, the AL0 is kind of on par with the big Bitmain there, which is cool to see that the mini box miner there is actually kind of pulling its own weight when compared to the big miners. Now, let's instead hop over to the mining results here. So the estimated final revenue is just how much money would the miner make when taking all of these entered values into account. So in this case then, after 24 months, if you hold all your coins and sell them after a 6x coin price increase from today's coin price, which is roughly $1.50, and you expect to sell the miner for a quarter of what you bought it for, with the estimated immediate network hash rate growth of 15.6 petahash and a month-on-month growth after that by 1 petahash each single month, well, you would end up with $3,721 total mined by the ASIC for the AL0, $150,000 for the AL1 Pro, $143,000 for the AL1 non-Pro. But that is of course just the actual money created by your miner, if you will. There's then also some power costs that go along with that. So then we have that same number, just taking the power cost out based on the power, the electricity price that you've put in yourself here. So for this case of 15 cents per kilowatt hour, the AL0 would go down from 3,700-ish to 3,460-ish. So that is how much money the miner will have generated after subtracting the power cost. And then on top of that, we also have the estimated final profit, which that is basically just this, but then also taking out the amount you paid for the actual miner as well. So this is how much more money, if you held all the coins and then sold after the specified coin price growth that you've put in here, how much more money would you have at the end of, you know, however long you've put in here compared to before. So if you had $0 before, with the AL0 you now have $2,505. Well, you couldn't have had $0 before because you spent 900 or so on the miner, but then you would have 900 or so plus 2,500. You get the point. It's how much more money you have compared to before. And for those of you who would rather look at that as like an ROI percentage, so your actual return on the investment, I've got that down here as well, where 100% means completely breaking even on the thing, and then more than 100% means how much more you've made basically, or if it's below 100% it means you've not reached your break even yet. And you can see here that still with these numbers that I've put in here, they all end up making money, and not only breaking even, but even the ALPH 2 with this specified scenario here actually doubles your money. The AL0 more than triples, it actually almost quadruples your money based on these numbers. And of course the AL1s, they perform even better because they have better performance basically. So that's where I'm gonna leave this. Please download and input your own predictions into the spreadsheet. Link will of course be down in the video description. So thanks for watching.